Morning everyone. It's been a while since I've posted a video on YouTube. My apologies for that, but I've been enjoying my razor and enjoying my summer, and hopefully everybody out there has been too. I've been getting a lot of views and a lot of comments on some of the videos, and I really appreciate that. Some of the comments are asking, how do I keep the thing so clean? And kind of the tongue-in-cheek comments like, do you even ride it? It's so clean. And I'm flattered by that, and yes, I do indeed ride it, and I do get it dirty. I was out yesterday in the Ganaraska Forest doing some riding, and there was a little bit of mud, and I got it dirty. Not seriously dirty, it's been way worse, but I wanted to take an opportunity to shoot a quick video showing everybody my cleaning regimen, how I get it so clean, what I do, and why I do it. Some of you may not care, others may be interested, but if you're interested, watch. I don't do anything really unique, I don't think, but maybe there's some little tips and tricks that you didn't think of. Before we get started, I'll show you. It's like I say, it's far from filthy, but sorry, I can't get back far enough here, but it's dirty. Okay, it's seen a bit of mud, and not usually it's all caked up in the fender wells there. I was fairly gentle yesterday, and I missed a lot of mud. My buddy that I was out with, he got a little bit muddier than me, but once again, it gives me an opportunity to share a video with you. Okay, so we'll continue in a moment. All right, so when I first get home from a day of riding, unless I'm really late or the weather's turned and it's raining or whatnot, I'll leave the machine right on the trailer. It's easier to clean the undercarriage, then I'll slowly back it off the trailer and clean the rest. You'll see what I mean as the video gets going. Yesterday was a little bit different. I was out riding, but when I came home, I had to go out. I couldn't really clean it, and it wasn't super filthy, it wasn't super wet, so it really isn't going to hurt it to sit overnight. If it's covered in wet mud, it kills me to leave it sitting like that, and I generally won't. But yesterday it was just kind of mud spray on the outside of the doors and the fenders. It's really not going to hurt nothing, so it sat overnight, and that's fine. To show you how I do wash it, I pulled it back up on the trailer today, and I'll explain why and what I do first. Now, if it was really muddy, as in caked in mud and baked up in around the suspension and the rad and the engine and so on, I would get out my power washer and get the loose mud off. Now, having said that, when you power wash, I power wash up inside the fenders and around there and down underneath the belly pan, the skid plate. I power wash in these holes to flush out the frame. If you have tree kickers, you're not going to be able to do that, but I try to be as thorough as I can. You should not have to be told this, but I will anyways. Do not put the power washer in close to any of these connectors and wires, and you're just asking for trouble if you start that. They're weather tight connectors. They're not meant for 1200 to 3000 psi, so keep the power washer away from that. Also keep the power washer away from your decals. It'll rip them right off the paint, and obviously any air intakes, keep them away. Power washer away from your instrument cluster. Just use common sense, okay? Just use it for the mud that is on the outside of the plastics, on the wheels, the rims, around that. That's all fine. Today we're not going to need the power washer. It's not that dirty. I'll just use the garden hose. So for all intents and purposes, pretend that I have power washed it, and we'll use the hose instead. When it's up on the trailer, what I do is I do around the rims, I do up under the front suspension, the rear suspension, around the engine. If the rad is dirty, I will take out the grill and I'll use the garden hose on the rad. I do not recommend using power washer on the rad. I know some people do with success. I never have used the power washer on it. I will use the garden hose. I'll stand there for an hour and flush it out if I need to. I don't want to wreck the fins on that rat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold the camera and wash this. I'm assuming not. So what I'll do right now, I'm just going to take the garden hose and I'm just going to, with a hard jet, I'm going to spray the mud. I'm not going to scrub anything. I'm just going to spray. So I'll be back in 5 minutes once that is done. Okay, so I just finished hosing off one side, and when I say hose off, here's what I mean. I just literally hose it. I didn't scrub it. I didn't touch it with anything. The idea of this is to loosen the mud, get rid of the big chunks, get out the nooks and crannies, This isn't a wash, this is strictly a rinse, okay? See, there's already stuff that I missed. See the dirt coming out of there? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the dirt out from the nooks and crannies, because if you don't, then as soon as you wash it, you're just going to get streaks of mud down the thing all over. It's not even going to look like you washed it. And hose over here, and you're going to get frustrated. Now, I was thinking as I was spraying the inside, there's two schools of thought here. Some people say, you know what, it's an off-road vehicle, it's meant to be muddy. I bought the thing, drive the thing, enjoy it, who cares? Okay, that's one way to think, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's your money, it's your machine, do what you want. My attitude is, I work hard for my money. To me, this is a big purchase. To some it may not be, to me it is. It's a lot of money, worth every penny in my eyes. It really de-stresses me, and I love it. If I don't take care of it, then I feel I'm not, I don't have a sense of pride in it. If you don't have a sense of pride in it, and you're not proud of your machine and like your machine, then the next time you're not going to take care of it, you're not going to clean it. It's just going to get worse and worse. Eventually it's going to fall apart. These machines are built tough. They're not bulletproof. They're mechanical. They're nuts, bolts, they're metal, they're plastics. Things are going to break, things are going to wear out. When you're washing your machine, you're looking at it all, you're touching it, you're scrubbing it, you're moving things. You're going to notice, hey, look, I have a diff seal that's leaking, or oh, geez, that bolt came loose. And you can tighten that stuff up as you go, rather than not wash it for 6 months and realize at the end of the season you've been riding without any front diff fluid for the last 3 months. Now you need a $1,000 diff rather than just a $20 seal. That's just my way of thinking. I'm not going to push it on anybody, you know, to each their own. That's one of the reasons why I clean my machine, and it's just pride of ownership. So what I wanted to show you, this side has not been cleaned yet. Bear with me, it's hard to hold the camera steady and watch what you're washing at the same time. There's all I'm doing. I'm getting the mud, the rough mud, off it, okay? And to be honest with you, it's not even so much about the outside. It's about in here, it's about around in the engine. Once again, I can't hold it and do it too, but I get up in here, I spray. See that dirty water coming out of there? That's mud. It's only on plastic, it's not really hurting anything, but why do you want it in there? You don't need it in there, it shouldn't be in there. Flushing out. I'm going to turn the camera off again and do some more spraying on this side sprayed. I'll get back and we'll continue on. Alright, two sides are hosed. The big mud is off. Like I said, and I can't stress it enough, this isn't about washing at this moment. This is just about getting the big chunks of mud off and loosening stuff up. Alright, everything will come off cleaner and easier when it's wet generally. Now, one little thing, I didn't do a lot of preparation to the machine before I started this. All I did was, I do have a box that was in the trunk. It's sitting right there. I just took it off just to get it out of the way. And the only other thing I did was I had two GoPro style cameras. I have one mounted there rear facing, and one is up. You can see the cord hanging by my mirror. It's mounted to the roll bar. I moved it. I didn't have to remove my what's it called, my GPS. It's a Magellan TRX7, and it is water, I don't want to say waterproof, but it's water resistant. You can spray it with a hose, it's fine. I obviously don't on purpose, but if it gets some water on it, it's fine. So here we're going to get into the nitty gritty. So here's what makes or breaks the cleaning right there. And this isn't an advertisement. I stumbled upon this stuff. It was demonstrated at a poker run I was at, and I liked it. It's just basically a concentrated industrial cleaner. I have not had any issues with it yet. It seems to be safe on everything. A gallon of it, this 1 gallon I think is like $26 or $27 at Royal Distributing. It dilutes 10 to 1, so it'll make, well, basically 37 liters. So it'll fill 37 bottles if you do it 10 to 1. That is what I do. I do 10 to 1. I fill it basically to here, just below the label there with the concentrate, the rest with water. I spray it on the machine, let it sit for about 5 minutes, agitate it with a soft bristle brush. Okay, this is a brush like we'd use on your rims of your car or something. It's very soft. And I have this, I don't even know what this is called. Some people use it for cleaning around their rims on their cars as well. I use this brush for getting in and around all the coil springs. And it depends how picky you want to get. If you're going to go riding in 2 more days or something, you might not want to be super picky. If the machine's going to sit for a couple weeks, then, you know, give it a really good thorough cleaning. like I say, you'll be surprised what you find when you're cleaning. I noticed last weekend, actually, I do have a front diff seal that's leaking a little bit where the axle is. Not a big deal. It's not even showing that it's down any fluid yet, but it's something I probably wouldn't have noticed if I didn't clean it as often as I do. So, like I said, I'll grab some of this. So the Zoom cleaner, I just spray it in wherever I want. It's also good for removing the mud stains. You know how when the mud dries, it kind of goes like a white stain. It's good for that. And like I said, just give it a good quick spray around here. Not going too crazy. I'm sorry if the camera work is terrible. It's hard to do this with the camera too. I need an assistant. Okay, anyways, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to also spray some of this on my brush. Okay, get it a little bit wet. I'll take the brush. And it's just it's as simple as that, just like you're washing your car. I think that the trick to this is time. And I'll be honest with you folks, if this machine is really muddy and really dirty, like I mean if I've been, you know, having a rip-roaring weekend and it's just covered, you know what, no exaggeration, I could be 3 to 4 hours between cleaning, washing, detailing to get it done. Having said that, that's not, you know, just going for bear, that's not going crazy. It's talking, having a coffee, washing, you know, taking a break, having a drink, come back. I enjoy it. I like doing it. If you wanted to just put your head down and do it, you could probably clean it pretty thoroughly in about 2 hours, but I enjoy doing it. This is relaxing for me too. Good way to spend my Sundays. So I'll continue scrubbing. Like I say, I can't do that with the phone in my hand, and I'll do the 4 corners and I'll get back and show you the next step. All right, I'm done 3 out of my 4 corners. I just thought I'd stop and give you a couple tips here. Some obvious, some not so much, I guess. One that I thought of is your brushes. When you're using your brushes, where's the sun? There we go. Don't forget to clean the brushes as you go. That brush does a great job. It's not going to do any good if it's filthy. So what I do, see if I can do it in one hand or not, but nah, it's not gonna work. But anyways, I'll hose out the brush, get the dirt out of it that's stuck in it between each corner. You know, I'll clean like this section in here, hose out the brush, and my other little one I use. Come here, spray this wheel well, scrub. I haven't done this one yet. Scrub, clean it, and then hose out the brush, and obviously rinse after. That Zoom cleaner that I'm using, great stuff. But it says on it, on the label in a few spots, do not let it dry on the surface. I never have. I'm assuming it will stain or damage plastics, but if it says don't let it dry on the surface, don't let it dry on the surface. All right, all 4 corners of the undercarriage and suspension there are scrubbed. Just a reminder, this isn't a full detail that I'm giving here, like for a show and shine or anything like that. This is just my regular post-ride regimen. Okay, this is what I do after I ride every time. I mean, I think there was one time when it was just a dusty trail and we rode for like 2 hours. I didn't bother cleaning because I knew I was going out in a couple days, but generally this is what I do after every ride. One other little thing, I don't know if you can tell where my grease joints and stuff are down there, the Zerk fittings at the front suspension. You can see there's little gobs of grease coming out around the bushings and so on. I do generally grease after every ride. I haven't done this one yet. I wait until I'm finished washing. I'm not gonna get crazy and wipe out all that grease and so on under there. I mean, if it's hanging in big gobs or something, yeah, fine. But the grease is, as far as I'm concerned, is protecting that seal. It's keeping water out to some extent and holding the grease in. So I don't go prodding around in there too much, wiping that out. You can if you want. The grease is meant to be there and it's not bothering me. Over the winter when I clean my machine and it sits for a few months, then I clean all that up so it looks pretty. But other than that, I don't worry about that stuff too much. Now, the next part, undercarriage is done. I'm gonna back the RZR off the trailer, but I'm gonna leave the front wheels up on the trailer. I'm gonna leave them up on this, the very back here. And there's a couple of reasons for that. It allows me to detail the engine area a little bit easier. And also when I'm cleaning the interior, it helps water drain, just a little easier to get at. Then I'll finally back it down on the ground and finish washing it. So we'll back it into this position and we'll start again. We'll carry on. All right, I apologize ahead of time. Folks are jumping around in this video. I am not a videographer by any stretch of the imagination, but I do want to give you guys as much info as I can. A couple other little tricks and tips. The ignition key. I leave the key in the ignition when I'm washing it, just because this factory key with its little rubber cap keeps the water out of the key slot. It's not really going to hurt anything if the water gets in there, but eventually it will start to corrode in there, and you'll end up having to spray your ignition and lube it and so on. It'll get stiff. That's just a little bit of a cap. It protects a little bit. Like I said before, don't go spraying a bunch of water around the switches, ignition gauges. There's no need to. If you get a light mist and a rinse, that's fine. They are meant to be, they're meant to get wet, but don't spray water in there. Also, when you're cleaning your floors, obviously take the drain plug out, and do not spray a bunch of water up and around the gas pedal. There's your throttle position, pedal position sensor is up there, and you don't want problems with that, believe me. What I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to just take anything out of my bags and the doors that's in there. I don't keep much in there. The remote control for the winch and extra pair of sunglasses and stuff like that. I'm going to take them out just in case water does get in there. These bags are pretty watertight, but better safe than sorry. I'm going to pop the two seats out. I always sit them just in the driveway while I do my cleaning. And I will take the hood off so I can get at the top of the under hood area. And I will also take the engine cover off. And then now basically it's a basic car wash, I call it. It's a bucket of water with soap. I don't have the soap out here yet. I just use any cheap old soap. I think the one I'm using now is made by Armor All. I bought it at Walmart for like $4. The soap is not so much the important part as using a woolly wash mitt and scrubbing. This mud, it'll stain. Like, you can rinse that and rinse it and rinse it and rinse it, and it'll stain. So you need to scrub that and get it off. And even after, at that point, you're still going to get a little bit of stain. But I'll show you how to get rid of that, or at least mask it, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to get out the soap and water and take out the seats and so on, and we'll be back. Alright, so the seats are out, hood's off, engine cover's off, and I basically did the same as I did earlier with the outside. Hosed everything in here down, okay? Nothing scrubbed, just literally wash out any loose bits of mud, crud, crap, leaves, branches, dead animals, whatever you find in there. Now, my bucket is ready with my cheap little woolly wash mitt. I got a, I don't know what that's called, microfiber scrubby thing for scrubbing the roof, because I am not very tall and the roof is. And just an FYI, there's the shampoo I use. You say nothing fancy. I don't care if it's got wax in it, protection, pearl, whatever it does. I just needed soap. One thing I do recommend though is use a car wash soap, even if it's a cheap one, but you know, don't use dish soap or something like that. It's harsh. That'll just chew your plastics up. Use a car wash soap. Like I say, cheap one's better than nothing. Now when I wash this, there's no point in spending a whole lot of money on car wash detergent. Okay, I'm gonna start scrubbing. Like I say, it's just like you're washing your car, no secrets here. And wash and rinse, and then I'll get back. We'll get on to the next stage. All right, one side, basically half the vehicle, is washed with the wash mitt and so on. And you can see, even as it's starting to dry, the plastics will show some mud staining, like fading and so on. I haven't done the rims and tires yet. They go last. I'll explain that to you in a little bit. Now, another little thing I want to let everybody know. This side I haven't done yet. When the vehicle's wet, it's going to look great. You're going to think, oh, it's clean, I don't need to scrub it. I'm telling you, anything that you don't physically scrub with a wash mitt, like any of this, you can wash it, hose it, let it rain on it for 3 days. When the sun comes back out, that's what you're going to get. So just beware, like anything that you can't scrub or don't scrub that has any dirt on it, it's just going to come right back. And that includes the engine area, anything. So gauge that to you know, how you want your ride to look when you're done. I'm not saying it, you can get at everything. I can't get at everything either, but just make sure that you're aware that if you don't scrub it, it's going to show up dirty. Enough gabbing for now. I'm going to finish off this side, and then I'll get back with the next step. All right, all bathed up. Now, tires and rims. The tires are, to me, are one of the trickiest things to clean and to get them looking decent. I don't really like a tire shine on my tires. I don't mind it when it's sitting over the winter, but I find that it just attracts dust and almost looks cheesy on a side-by-side or any four-wheeler for that matter. But that's your preference. When you're done, you can put tire shine on if you want. What I need to do to clean the tires and rims is I spray some of the Zoom cleaner on it over there in my windowsill. Like I said before, I spray it on, I let it sit for 10-15 seconds. It doesn't take long, and I scrub it with a tire brush. It's just a little bit stiffer bristle. You can hear it. It's almost the consistency of a push broom, maybe not quite so stiff, and that'll scrub the rubber. As far as the rims, I just use my soft brush that I used earlier, this one up here, and scrub the rims, and then rinse it off. Then the wash part is done. After that, I will back it off the lip of the trailer here so it's sitting level on the ground, and I'll use either compressed air or a leaf blower to dry it off. You can use a chamois if you want. I find a compressed air works good. Today's got a little bit of a breeze. It's a nice sunny day, so it should dry pretty quick. While it's drying, I will clean my rear trunk box. It's over there. I'll clean my seats and have them out. I'll clean my engine cover, and I'll clean my hood, and that'll give the machine itself some time to dry while I'm doing all that, and then we can get on to the detailing. Okay, tires and rims are scrubbed. That took all of about 5 whole minutes. It's pretty easy. Spray, let soak for about 30 seconds, scrub, rinse. Pretty easy. Now, while that's drying, I'll pull it down in a minute. I just wanted to show you folks this. I don't know if you can see because of the lighting or not, but mud on the seats. Lots of it. Normally my passenger catches it all, but I was riding alone on the weekend, so my seat got it. And my apologies to any passengers that I may have had. All I do with the seats, I give them a light hose down. I spray them once again with Zoom cleaner, and a light scrubbing with the bristle brush. Don't go too crazy. It is vinyl upholstery, and hose them off. Simple as that. Let them dry in the sun. All right, so I just backed it down. I know I said I normally let it sit to dry, and I do, but there's a couple little things that I do that I just thought of that I should let you know. The one thing is, these spots here, they always fill with water, case in point, and that's going to take forever to dry. And then when you do go to detail the machine later, that water is going to come out, it's going to make a mess. I have my air hose, my compressor. I just quickly blow that water out. Okay? Simple as that. Also, on the engine, there is 2 holes where the head bolts are, down in there. See how they're full of water now? I really don't want those head bolts sitting submerged in water and corroding, because heaven forbid one day I need to pull this head apart and do some work to it and the bolt snap. I'm just not going to be a happy camper. So, same thing. I won't make a lot of noise in the video here, but just lightly blow them out, okay? Lightly blow them out. Treat compressed air similar as you would a pressure washer. Believe it or not, even if you don't pressure wash, you just use a hose. If I was to take compressed air and really blow around some of these sensors, I can blow water in with the compressed air. So treat it with care too, okay? And it can also blow your paint off if you have painted plastics, which I do. And there's one spot back here. Well, I hit a tree and took some paint off, but that's besides the point. But that right there, that was from me blowing it with compressed air. It got a little too close, pulled the paint right off. So lesson learned. Compressed air can be just as dangerous as a pressure washer. Having said that, I will take the compressed air, I will hold it back. Give the whole thing a quick blow off like that. I'll spend maybe 5 minutes doing that. Let it sit here. I'll go inside, have a bite to eat, maybe have a cold beverage, and come back outside, and 95% of the water should be off at that point. Like I said, you're going to want to blow off you know, any water that's stuck up like that where the sun's not going to get to it, and in around the gauges, just lightly blow it away. Once again, no heavy pressure, and it doesn't take long. If you don't have a compressor, you can use a leaf blower. If you don't have a leaf blower, you can use a chamois. I mean, it depends on how big a job you want to make this. I'm lazy and I have a compressor, so that's what I use. All right, I'll be back. All right, it's been, I guess, give or take a half hour. I've dried off the machine. It's been sitting outside here, not in the direct sun, but there's a bit of a breeze, and it's a warm day. It's a nice day. Went inside, had a drink, had some lunch. Now there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is you're over halfway done. You're cleaning. The bad news is with the mud stains and all that good stuff, it kind of still looks like crap. So you realize after all that work, look at, like, that's just, it's clean. It's basically mud, water stains, so on. Oh, that's dirt there, but you realize that for the work you did, it just doesn't look as good as you think it should have. This is where the good news comes back into play again. The good news is that this is the way it is and that we can save it. So what we need is a couple of products. The first one I use, it even tells you in the owner's manual, use Pledge. I don't think it says Pledge, I just think it says furniture polish. This is Walmart's version of Pledge. Great value. I think it's like $3 a can. If you do a full detail, and I mean like everything, including the box in the back and everything, a can will do probably 2 details. So you're gonna use 1 can for every 2 washes. This stuff here, this is a lifesaver. SC1. We buy this in Canada at Royal Distributing. In the States, I think you have to buy it online. I'm not 100% sure. I'll show you how that stuff works too. It is amazing. This I bought online. It's from the US, a company called Adams Detailing. I love their stuff. A little bit pricey, but if you buy the 1 gallon refills, it ends up being quite economical. Now you guys are probably thinking, oh God, like, do I have to buy all this stuff? No, you don't. You can use whatever combination thereof or substitute. I'm just telling you what I use. Like I say, this no-name Pledge is like $3 a can. The SC1's pricey. It's about 11 or 12 bucks a can. Depending how you use it, a can will do 2 to 3 washes, so it can get pricey. I use it sparingly. And this stuff, I think a gallon is like 30 bucks, so it'll last you, a gallon will last you like 2 years. So it depends on how you use it, okay? So I'm gonna show you what each thing does. The Pledge, I use it for all my interior plastics. I start with that first. So when I say that, I spray it on, you know, behind the seats here. I spray it on all that, just like you would furniture. You spray it on, it comes out like a white foam. Wipe it down with a clean, dry microfiber towel. Okay, I give that a quick spray and the dash. Then I put in the seats. So we'll do that now, and then I'll get back to you. All right, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown on why I use so many different products. I just reviewed, or well, explained, I guess, 3 products that I use to you. The furniture polish, the SC1, and the Adams undercarriage spray. It all boils down to cost versus functionality. That's it. This SC1, this stuff's amazing. If I could use it everywhere on the razor, I would, and you can. But you'd probably use 2 cans each time. So are you going to spend 24 bucks plus, you know, your other stuff each time you wash it? It just makes no sense. So I use that stuff sparingly. The Pledge, dirt cheap, $3 a can. You know, even if you used a can each time, not a big deal. The problem with it, you have to spray it on, then you have to wipe it with a microfiber cloth. You can't just spray it and leave it. The SC1 you can spray and leave. That's the difference. Adams undercarriage spray, it's kind of somewhere in between. You can spray it and leave it, that's what it's designed for, but it doesn't give you a real nice, pretty, smooth finish like the SC1 does. The Adams, if you spray too much, it'll run, it'll get a little bit greasy, and so on. So the Adams for spraying in around, like way underneath, under around your heater hoses, around the engine, it's fine. Like, who's going to get their head in there and really pick away? Oh, look, you got a little run on one of your hoses. Who cares? The SC1 is nice for spraying in around your fender wells in here, because there's some nooks and crannies that you can't really get into to wipe. But you see how there's that light colored mud down there? It'll hide all that. I'll show you this after. It'll get rid of all that. So that's where the SC1 is nice, in the fender wells. The Pledge I use on all the outer plastics. I just used it, well, I've already put the one seat back in. I used it up here because I can wipe it easy. So I spray it, wipe it, done. It's cheap, it's finished, it gets the job done. And by the way, I don't get real fancy wiping down in there. It's under the seat. You know, I'm not going to get that carried away. I just kind of make sure that the majority of the water is wiped out. So that's why I use the 3 products that I do use. Like I say, the cheap one, you have to put a bit of elbow grease into, and if you're trying to do up under the engine bay or whatever, you can't even get in there to wipe. Like, there's no way. So that's where this comes in. Costs a fortune, but works good. This, kind of happy medium. If you don't mind, it'll give you the gloss you're looking for, but with a little less refined. So what I'll do right now for everybody is I'll show you how we use the Pledge spray. Come around to the far side. I think it's got the best lighting. Okay, so here's an example. Front fender looking a little grayish, stain and so on. Spray on some Pledge. See how it kind of goes on. Yucky, you're not going to leave it like that. Give it a wipe. It won't hide scratches. I mean, it's not a miracle. It's just, it will darken up your plastic. So there it is in a nutshell. The plastic looks much better, right? Compared to, you can see where I started and stopped there, right? See what it does. Okay. Now, we'll grab some SC1. Obviously, I didn't finish that side. I just want to give you guys the Coles Notes version here. Pop off the lid, give it a quick shake. Back over to this side again. Or actually, you know what? Over here, when I said there was some dried mud. There, you can see the dried mud. So, the SC1. Smells like cherries too, which is gross. See? Gone. Just like new. Will it work on this stuff? Absolutely. Works nice. And the gloss will die down once it dries a little bit. But are you going to use 2 cans doing all your plastics when the $3 Pledge will do it? No problem. Now, the Adams undercarriage spray. I'll show you what that's all about. This stuff smells amazing. It smells like grape Kool-Aid. So I'd keep it away from small kids because you know what they're going to end up doing is trying to taste it. So it just sprays like a mist. Makes everything kind of look black, look clean. Does the job, especially in places like axles like this. Once again, it looks a little wet, but once it dries, it doesn't look bad. But you can see the problem. It's not nearly as neat. Okay, I've babbled enough. I'm going to finish doing some detailing here. I'll probably be back with a couple more tips before I'm done. But for the most part, I'm going to do my wheel wells with SC1. I'm going to do all my plastics with Pledge. Something like the mirror, where there's a lot of little nooks and crannies here, I use SC1. It's just so much easier than trying to get in there and wipe out the Pledge. The roll bars, a little trick that I use is when my microfiber cloth starts getting damp from using the Pledge, such as it is now. Let me set this Adams spray down. If you give it a wipe with just the damp cloth, it really brings everything up nice, and you don't even need to spray. Your cloth is already wet enough. Right? So it makes it look nice. So that's my little tips for now, I suppose. I'll be back. Alright, so that about wraps it up. All the Pledge is done, the SC1 is done. Like I said, I don't put anything on my tires and rims. They just tend to want to attract dust. The only other step you can go, excuse me, if you want to go a little bit farther, is you can take just any automotive detail spray and you can give the paint a wipe here. I usually just use a clean microfiber cloth. It seems to do a good job, but the odd time I will take the detail spray and give it a shot. But hope that helps. Anybody's questions, hope it helps their cleaning regimen a little bit. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to write her down in the comments section, and I'll try to get back to you. Hope this helps out. And by the way, there's going to be some review videos coming up of some aftermarket stuff that I put on, and also some mods that I'm going to be doing. So stay tuned. I'll post videos when the time comes. Thanks. See ya.